You ready? I spent all night last night going through my entire collection, and I wanted to pick out some really good, affordable colognes to get your dad for Father's Day. All affordable. The most expensive one is right under 50 bucks, but there's some here that's like 20 or $30. But they're all affordable. I really thought this out actually. They're really affordable. Um, there's nothing weird here. I have a lot of fragrances that most people would consider very weird to have as a cologne. But most of these are mass pleasing because a lot of dads out there are not frag heads. They're not into fragrances that much. They have their typical Old Spice and Acqua di Gio and stuff like that. So I didn't want to pick anything too weird or anything like that. Um, and I could have easily picked out 50. I had so many like I wanted to put on this list, but I was like, don't go crazy. But I could have easily picked 50 for this review, but I didn't think that would be a good idea. So I picked seven. Seven? Why seven? Why didn't you pick out five or 10 like normal people do? It's because I'm not normal. I'm Abby normal. That's a joke. Some people will get that and some people won't. No, why not seven? Why does it have to be five? Why does it have to be 10? I want to pick out seven because I'm not normal. So that's what I did. None of these are in any particular order. I don't have my favorite to my least favorite or vice versa, except the first one. My number one pick, I'm going from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The number one is my favorite, but the rest of them are just mixed up. They're not my favorite or anything like that. But my number one is by far my number one. And this definitely had to go on my list. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the most expensive one first. This is right under 50 bucks. You can get 50 mil of this cheaper, but this is 100 mil. It's like right under 50 bucks. That's the cheapest. I found it online last night. There's some places selling this for 75, 80. So right under 50 is the cheapest I could find. All the links will be in the description. If you see something on here you want to check out, all the links will be in the description. But this is called Heritage Eau de Toilette. I like this. This is probably the most complex on the list. This is very masculine. Actually, all of these are masculine. All of these are masculine. Nothing weird and inexpensive. Heritage Eau de Toilette. A lot of woods in here. This is one of the best sandalwood fragrances I have. That is my 7. Number 6. Let's go with Tabik Original. This is from Germany. Tabik Original Eau de Toilette. They have the aftershave. They have the cologne concentration, and they have the Eau de Toilette. This is the Eau de Toilette. All of them I recommend. I recommend the aftershave and the cologne also. The Eau de Toilette this is a little bit more sharp and has a little bit more of a bite to it than the cologne. The cologne is a little bit more mild and probably more well-rounded, I guess, but the aftershave is killer too. Good barbershop fragrance. Sort of a soapy shave foam. Which I have another shave foam barbershop fragrance coming up. I'll do that one next, but had to be on my list. This is a really good masculine barbershop fragrance. The other barbershop fragrance I have is one of my favorites of all time. This is from Fine Accoutrements. They are a shaving, grooming men's company. They have some other eau de toilettes, and they have a lot of razors and shave bowls and all kinds of stuff. This is one of the best barbershop fragrances I ever smelled because it combines two of my other favorite barbershop fragrances, Rive Gauche pour Homme and Paco Rabanne pour Homme. This is like a combination of both. This has the smoothness and classy vibe of Reef Gauche, and it has the masculine rawness of Paco Rabanne Port Homme. Sort of like a combination of both of those. Next up is another Guerlain Vetiver Eau de Toilette. This is a really good masculine fragrance too. It's very green, it's very grassy, has a little bit of spice in it. Very classic smell to it. As a matter of fact, I need to get another bottle of this Vetiver Eau de Toilette. But that's a good one. Next up is one of the most simplest fragrances, but it's very unique also. Bentley Absolute for Men. This is the most woody fragrance out of all of these. This is like 85% woods, combination of cedarwood and sandalwood with a little bit of spice in there. But this is a really good one. Most people talk about Bentley Intense. I don't like Bentley Intense at all. I think Bentley Intense sucks, as a matter of fact. But this is much better. This is like a really masculine, woody fragrance. Really cool bottle. Might be one of my favorite bottles in my entire collection. Next up, if your dad has a sweet tooth, this is the most sweet out of everything that I have here. It's very fruity. It has a good plum and apple note in here. Lacoste Pour Homme. This is masculine, but I think anybody could wear this. I think a lot of females might like this because it is sweet and very fruity. Has a lot of plum and apple, a little bit of cinnamon. But if your dad has a sweet tooth, Lacoste Pour Homme. It's very inexpensive. All right, my number one pick. This is one of the most important fragrances in my entire collection, not just because of the way it smells and how it's blended, it's because it has a lot of sentimental value to me. I first got this in like 1981 or 1982. Paul Sebastian, PS Fine Cologne. This is a humongous 8-ounce bottle, and there's only like maybe a quarter left out of this 8 fluid ounce. I used a lot of this stuff. But this is one of my favorite fragrances of all time out of anything in my entire collection. It's up there in the top, probably the top 5, especially the sentimental value, because I've had this for so long. I've had this since the early 80s. And this is one of the most underrated fragrances that I could possibly think of. There's very few fragrance reviewers ever have mentioned this before, and very few people in the fragrance community has mentioned this. And I think that's a shame, because I think this is one of the most beautiful fragrances I've ever smelled in my entire life. This is very floral, but it's a very masculine floral. This is one of the most floral fragrances I have in my entire collection, but the way they blend it and the other notes that they add to this has some herbs in it and some spices in it, and they blended it a certain way to make it very masculine. But this is one of the most elegant fragrances I have also. This is a very formal fragrance, suit and tie, but you can wear it anytime you want to. This is one of the most inexpensive fragrances also in my entire collection. I think this 8-ounce, 200 mil. No, it's like 250 mil. It's like $35 on FragranceNet or something. You can get 100 mil, half this size, for like 25 bucks, I guess. $25, I think it is, for 100 mil. But I'll put a link in this in the description also. And I hope a lot of people pick this, because I love this fragrance. I fell in love with it in 1982, and I'm still in love with it. And I'll always have it in my collection. Anyway, that's it for my list, and I hope that I helped I really do. I hope somebody sees this, not knowing anything about fragrances, and want to get something for their dad, like a cologne for their dad for Father's Day. And I hope I helped. That's the reason I did this. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will talk to y'all later. Links in the description.